first we get to Rangers, there was huge disappointment and frustration for their fans. They saw their side fall out of the Champions League at the first hurdle. Dynamo Kyiv scored 2 late goals at Hampden Park to send them out in the qualifying rounds after winger Jefte was sent off early in the second half. Delighted to say Kris Boyd joins us now, obviously watching for us last night. We're going to have a bit of a reflection on that. I mean, you called the second yellow card horrendous. On reflection, is that the main reason Rangers lost the game?
The Rangers lost the game even beforehand. Haley, I didn't think Rangers were playing that well. They hadn't really created many chances, but there is no doubt that that the second yellow card had a massive impact in the game. When you look at it, I mean, I don't know what Jefte's meant to do. He jumps for the ball. His hands are tucked in. He doesn't even catch the Dynamo Kyiv player anywhere, but he falls to the ground and the Italian referee buys it. Listen, I said it last night as well. You look at how far the game has come under, when VAR has been looking at things and that, but I still think this is a grey area for me in terms of that second yellow card that leads to a red card. I think there should be something that you can look at it there because, as I said, for me, I mean, it was never, ever a yellow card. But obviously, you have to saw red after picking up the 2 yellows. But look, it's easy to blame the red card. Yes, it had a massive impact in the game, but Rangers need to be a lot better than what they were last night. There's no doubt about that. I think Philip Clement has spoken about the improvement. I've yet to see it, if I'm being honest. I think when you look at the Hearts game, it wasn't great there. You go to Dynamo, you go to Poland to play Kyiv and come back with a draw, but I mean, 94 minutes before you equalised there. 45 minutes against Motherwell, good. And then you're hanging on towards the end against Motherwell on Saturday there. You go last night, an opportunity to get into that final knockout stage of the Champions League, which, it's huge money for the football club. £4 million would have been huge for Rangers. Philip Clement would have wanted that to go and invest back in the squad to try and improve domestically. But, Rangers, there's one thing, aren't in a good place at this moment in time, Haley.
Yeah, a very costly defeat, as you mentioned there. There's lots of reasons why the fans are not happy. There's obviously the atmosphere in the stadium situation, the card last night, some of the performances that you've mentioned, of course, in pre-season as well, at the beginning of the season. What are the fans, do you think, most unhappy about?
Rangers fans, a lot of my age grew up in the 90s watching Rangers dominate Scottish football. And then there was a case, when you look through the 2000s, early 2000s, Celtic 1 year, Rangers for 2, Celtic for 2, 3, and then Rangers came back and everything. Whereas right now, I mean, it only looks as if Celtic's going to dominate Scottish football for a long period of time in terms of the finances. I think Rangers, when you look at, the word that's been used around Rangers right now is a project. Rangers Football Club has never been a project, and it never will be a project. You need to win. And that's where, I think the pressure is going to come on. I know that people will ask for time, but you ain't going to get it. You ain't going to get it. The whole thing a couple of weeks ago with, Philip Clement signing a new deal, I think it was, I said at the time, it was all the perception of, for me, that's what it was about. And I don't see, we're together, we'll go forward as one, and, Philip Clement's in charge of the football club. But, when I look at it right now, there is so many problems at Rangers, and the biggest one for me, yes, you've got on the pitch issues, but the biggest one for me is Ibrox. Whoever sanctioned that, for me, I cannot work it out. When you look back at, even if you've got the steel and you can delay things. You can delay things. You don't need to start them, and then all of a sudden you don't have the materials there. You're then trying to strike a deal with the SFA to use Hampden. You look at it last night, 39,000. Rangers have got a League Cup game against St Johnstone at the weekend. You'd be lucky if there's 20,000 there. The fans have had enough. I think when you go back to the years gone past where, you're coming up the leagues and you can see, okay, there's an end in sight here because, Rangers are going to get back. You're going to start winning titles again. You're going to get Champions League football. That has all been accomplished. But it's now seems to be it's back on the slide again, and somebody needs to get a grip of the football club.
Yeah, and there's going to be no Champions League football for the fans to enjoy. But in reality, there's Europa League. In reality, the best European competition for Rangers to be in the next season.
In football, you can look at it, but I'm not one for buying this whole thing of we've got a chance in the Europa League, but because a few years ago Rangers got to the final. At the end of the day, every football club wants to play in the Champions League, and Rangers are no different. If they were, then why turn up for the qualifying campaign? For me, the Champions League's the be all and end all. You want to be there. Listen, I've said it for years. Celtic have underperformed in the Champions League as well, but they've got there. There is no reason why Scottish football, Rangers and Celtic, can't be in that Champions League year in, year out. They're two massive football clubs that have a run properly. And I think when you look at Celtic, they are run properly, and they've represented Scottish football for a number of years now in the Champions League. But when you look at Rangers, there's no reason why they can't be in that Champions League. What you're competing against last night. For me, I thought the Dynamo Kyiv team were bang average. Yes, they might have showed a little bit of quality once Rangers were down to 10 men, but Rangers have got to be better than that. And again, I think it's this whole short-sightedness of, instant success at home, whereas I think over the longer period of time, Rangers have to be better and look to the future in terms of putting a proper structure in place that allows that to happen. But at the same time, you have to win domestically. So it's, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. And the pressure's going to come on. But, as you said, Europa League, yeah, in terms of giving Rangers the best opportunity to win games of football, yes. But, nobody's going to try and sell me that, Rangers wouldn't want to win the Champions League.
As for Celtic, as you mentioned them there, already through to the expanded group of the Champions League, the group stage of the Champions League. They're closing in on a deal to sign Adam Ida. A good signing for Brendan Rodgers. It's a lot of money.
I think Celtic fans have been moaning about the money that Celtic have had in the bank. I'm sure there were a few of them with raised eyebrows in terms of the price that has been quoted. But I'm not sure it will be that price. I I think Celtic, when you go back to it, round about the £6 million mark, I don't think they're going to pay £2.5 million on top of that to get Adam Ida. But I think I said it at the weekend, I was very surprised that Celtic didn't enter a clause into the contract with Norwich. Maybe they did, and it's not come out. But in terms of a fee that would have been agreed already, because Celtic have been very good at that over the years in terms of players that have came in loan. They've got a deal in place that they can buy them or they can let them go back, whatever. Because, when you look at Celtic and the way they've brought players in and they've given them that platform to go and perform, Adam Ida falls into that category. When you look at the goals he scored last year, you've seen that one there at Ibrox, the cup final goal as well. There was big goals at Easter Road. There was a big goal at Fir Park as well. So, he had a massive impact between, January and the end of the season for Celtic. So I'm not surprised that, Celtic have went and got that deal done, and also added to the fact that Kyogo, went down with his shoulder again, which would be a little bit of concern because that's, 2 or 3 times now that's happened. But there is no doubt that Brendan Rodgers needed to add, competition for places, in that central role for Celtic. And Adam Ida, it's not as if he's going to take time to get used to Glasgow and up to speed and everything, because he already had a few months of it last year. And, I think for me, it's a good deal for Celtic. As I said, I don't think they will be paying the £8.5 million that everybody, it's been rumoured. But, for me, I think getting the player in is the most important thing for Celtic. And, I don't think it'll be the last transfer that we see them doing in the next few weeks.